You can start.
Hello and welcome everyone. I'm really excited to be here today and moderating this session with a bunch of very powerful women and talking about empowering women in manufacturing. I'm Gayatri Sharma from Rolls-Royce, and it has been my pleasure and privilege to be associated with this platform for the last few years. And it was very exciting when Dinesh asked me to, come and join this panel. But I said, why don't I moderate instead? And get a chance to rather listen to all the other women on the panel and to learn from them and learn from each other. And I think that's what this platform is really all about. Manufacturing is definitely, a very um, important sector and a field where when we talk about women in STEM, this is one area where definitely there is a lot more that could be done to improve the participation of women and to empower women. So, without further ado, I'm going to start by asking. I'm going to ask the panelists to one by one introduce themselves. Let me start with Amita. Amita, over to you.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Gayatri. It's been pleasure, to come back to this, panel again and again and speak about the most sensitive and the most beautiful topic that we have today. So, women in manufacturing. So proud to be associated with this, this industry, and I can proudly even say that I'm a product of a manufacturing industry. And there have been ways, that me as a person have been developed, as an individual has been developed in this sector. And speaking more about myself, so currently I am the VP of Corporate Strategy with Nico Nanobubbles India. So though I come with a varied kind of a profile, but the most promising thing that I feel today, the fulfillment I feel today, is being back to this industry from where I started with my career. So I had a small stint with the Somani Tiles when I started my career in the initial days. And then a long sabbatical with my family life and two beautiful daughters, and then coming back to the industry of manufacturing, where I see a lot of industrial products, a lot of new innovations, and a very conducive environment. So looking forward to this, very interesting webinar, and looking forward to the panelists, hearing from them, learning from them, and let us see how we can, take this forward. Yeah. Thank you, Gayatri.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Thank you, Amita, and welcome. Over to you, Pallavi.
Thanks, Gayatri, and I'm really excited to be on this panel discussion and working and meeting and interacting with everyone here. So I'm Pallavi. Just a little bit about me. I currently run my own marketing consultancy where I help businesses boost their brand, their visibility, and really help build impactful content and community building strategies. So my career in marketing is, or rather in manufacturing, is a little bit different. I actually come from much more of a tech background. And I have to say some of the most exciting times in my career has been with some of the manufacturing companies that I've worked with, either as a consultant or in-house, and help them see how, and I've really grown in my career with them, especially in how technology has been changing the manufacturing sector. So I'm really looking forward to this panel and speaking with everyone on this topic.
Awesome. Great to have you, Pallavi. Thank you so much. Shwetamari, let's move to you next.
Yeah. Hello all, and I'm Shwetambari, and born and brought up in Maharashtra, Mumbai. And then I will say that I have chosen manufacturing field for me after a sophisticated job of 13 years in a research field. But I thought I can be the change which can influence others. So I stepped into the manufacturing field, and I want to lead as an example to encourage and motivate other female out there.
Awesome. Sounds great. Neelam, over to you next.
Thank you, Gayatri, and hello everyone. This is Neelam Pathak here. I'm very excited to be part of this panel because this is very close to my heart. And just to give you a brief background of me, I worked in the industry, especially the core manufacturing industry of automobile and wind energy sector for 22 years in the core business areas of manufacturing, quality, and the sourcing. Headed the sourcing organization of many of the MNCs. And after doing all this for 22 years, and then started my own organizations. I led two organizations. One is called Social Bay Consulting, where we consult the OEM suppliers, because while working in the OEMs, I realized what are the challenges that they are facing. And one of the platform that we have is called WIMA, which is Women in Manufacturing and Associated Industry. This platform is majorly to boost the more women to have in the workforce. The other organization that I have founded is called Rojgar Dhaba. It is mainly, so we work a lot with the urban women. Now, what about the rural women? So Rojgar Dhaba covers for the rural women and the rural people in the community for the employability and the skilling in the manufacturing sector. So in this way, we cover both the areas. So as I said, just started with the entrepreneurship journey last 2.5 years on these two organizations. So, and that is why I said I am a child from manufacturing industry, a mechanical engineer by my graduation, and then did my MBA from IIMS Lucknow and SDA Bocconi Milan. So as I said, but this is the industry that I love in. This is the industry I am in. I'm also working now as a the support service industry to the manufacturing. So very excited to be part of this panel and and here to hear some of the great things that experience that we have, plus sharing from my side. Thank you, Gayatri.
Thank you. Thank you, Neelam. I think we will definitely be looking forward to hear from you as well, especially with your, experience of close quarters with the sector itself. And over to you, Nitika. Please introduce yourself. You're on mute.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Powerful women's and beautiful women's here, right? So, ciao, Gayatri from the Venice as well.
Ciao.
So if I'll talk about myself, my name is Nitika Sharma, and I'm taking care of marketing for Marpos in India. And I have more than 10 years of experience in marketing. So I've started my career with Google, where I've learned regarding digital marketing and all. But now I think because I have worked with diverse work culture, and first time I'm working with the manufacturers. So I definitely I'm learning a lot from people and the girls and women around me. And this is definitely a very good topic we are talking about today. And I'm very excited to talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And a warm welcome to you all. I believe our last panelist, Pankti, will be joining us in a short while. So in the meanwhile, let's crack on. I personally feel that, and I of course have been in the communication space for most of my life, but I've had the fortune of working on STEM initiatives as part of my role to lead community initiatives, particularly at Rolls-Royce. And I personally feel that, there is so much potential in our country in terms of, the talent that is there. And when I work even with girls in high school, I am so inspired by their energy, their passion, and the kind of intelligence that they bring, to the room. And certainly across fields, we do see that, women are managing so much in their life. And sometimes, you just think about the fact that despite so many things which may be holding them back, how do they cross those barriers and come forward? And I thought, let's start by talking first about, because we're talking about empowering people, let's first talk about what is it that holds women back, particularly in the manufacturing sector. Let's gather some thoughts on, how how girls in particular face challenges, and what in specific do you see are the challenges that women are facing, girls are facing, to progress in the manufacturing sector, to join the manufacturing sector. So let's first identify what are those barriers. And I'm just going to go as I see people on my screen. So first I'll start with you, Shwetambari.
Yeah, thank you, Gayatri. When I said that I have made a choice for myself to be in the this field of manufacturing. So at very first, what struck me is the main barrier is a lack of flexibility in this manufacturing field. Because in corporate jobs, office jobs, you have that option of after COVID work from home, or you can take a flexible shift in timings. But in manufacturing, you have to work in shifts, first shift, second shifts, probably night shifts, and then you have to be present on the shop floor because every day brings a new challenge to you. So no day is the same in a manufacturing. So what I specifically feel is a lack of flexibility, and then is directly related to the work life balance that female that can manage, because still we are in a developing country. If I talk about India, still we are in developing country, and women, they have to balance both home, kids. Home means everything, and then at workplace. So for me,
Right.
flexibility is at
Right.
one.
Thank you. Thank you. Neelam, let's come to you next.
If you'll talk about barriers, I believe what Shwetamari said, flexibility is very, very important. Like, I'll tell you with an example. Before COVID, working from home for a manufacturing industry was a very, very far thought. I mean, the people, when you used to ask our managers, I remember, they said, no, no, this is not at all possible. And COVID then taught us that it is possible. So the thing is, we don't need waves like COVID to teach the companies that, okay, work from home is a possibility even in the sector. Or if I'll tell you, the maternity leave policy, just an example, it used to be 6 weeks. I remember when I had my first child, I had to join the company back within 1.5 month, leaving
My
my.
God.
And the thing is, and you don't have an option of, okay, you will do only 3 hours, 4 hours, and all that. And if you see the data of LBFR, that is labor force participation rate, 25 to 35% of the women, they leave the career, especially from this sector during the mid-career. Because this is the time when women life career, when I say life career, it means their family and the other, plus their professional careers are inversely proportional. When you are growing in your profession, you are also growing in your life. And then they started where we talk about balancing. I believe more of balancing it is about prioritization, because you have to look after the baby and you have to also look after the assignments that you have been given. And you cannot just say, oh, I won't take this assignment because of the certain things. So I believe one is on the flexibility, we need to think a lot from that, from the policy side, from the other. Second is also, I believe, the voice, the representations are very low. I remember in one of the organization, I used to be the single manager out of 80 managers in that department. So when you are just one and when you say something, your voices are not heard, because then it's not everybody's problem. It's only your
Right.
problem.
Right.
So
You're a minority.
yeah, you are the minority. And if you are the minority, naturally your voices are not considered. I believe these are some of the barriers where we need to sensitize. And naturally we will talk about later on that. So
Sure.
these affects the careers of the women in the sector.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you. Pallavi, over to you.
Sorry, I was on mute, but I really resonated with what you said, Neelam, on your last bit on visibility is very low. I think that's one of the biggest challenges for women in the workplace, and not just in manufacturing, but in a lot of industries, but especially in manufacturing. There's very little role models. I think in one of the organizations I worked at, coming from a marketing background, I did a lot of facilitation of processes and workshops and things like that. And you're right, often I was the only woman among a sea of men, and trying to corral them and get them going. It's not easy. It's quite difficult. I think that is where organizations, where policies can really, really make a difference, where you have, either mentorship roles or you have mentorship programs or dedicated leadership pipelines where you can help build some of these pipelines for women specifically to go into these leadership roles, I think that's very important. A lot of companies that are looking to build, let's say, their sustainability development goals, to meet those goals, because a lot of companies do have reasons to meet them, they're actually looking at how women can be nurtured and built up in their career. And I think this is extremely important.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Amita, over to you for your thoughts.
Yeah. So completely in line with what my dear panelists are saying. However, what I personally believe, it's more about the mindset. See, a machine would never ever say that it has to be operated by a man or a woman. It never has a some kind of a SOP written over there or some kind of manual attached to it. So first of all, it comes within the system, within the environment, that we have typically set apart the roles for men and women. So first of all, when it comes to the hiring part, we define it as men, whosoever are there in the policy making, that it has to be done by a male or a female. So primarily coming to that, when we talk about the flexibility and we talk about the policies, it's important that at every stage we change the mindset also. First of all, we need to be open that there will be women at the shop floor. There will be women who will be taking the maternity leave also at the shop floor, and we have to train ourselves for that. So I think primarily before all these things go into, we need to have a clean mindset that yes, we are open to such kind of an environment where there are more women in the shop floor. They will be at the managerial roles, they will rise, and we have to go with them. There's nothing that can hold them. So from my point of view, it's the first barrier is the mindset.
So there
Similarly,
is bias.
yeah, sorry.
There's bias, is
Yeah,
what
there's
you're
a
saying.
biasness, right? So while it's there in the industry, back home, it's there at the family level also. We don't train our daughters, we don't train the ladies at our home that you can enter that, field also. So that is where we need to create more and more examples. I completely understand it has to be done at the grassroots levels. And we have, I'm sure Gayatri, you must be aware about a lot of skill programs that the government runs and that are, initiated at the 9th grade level. So by the time, the girls or the students are out of their, the schools, they're well equipped with that kind of a knowledge, they can enter directly into the field. So coming back, barriers would be the mindset from my end, whether it is at the industry level or at the family level. Yeah.
Thank you. Nitika, over to you.
Absolutely, I'm completely agreed with Amita, because we have to change the mindset that world, girl, the woman can do wonders, right? So that's why, on my take on that, that first you have to trust yourself that you are a Nari Shakti. And in India, we are giving that place to a Nari that they are a Shakti, they are a powerful. And inside, if they'll feel that they are powerful, definitely they can do wonders. And the barriers, yes, this is in everybody's life, if it is a man, if it is a woman. There are so many barriers in every sectors. But for the women, definitely they have to come out by their self. They have to trust on their self, their instinct, that whatever the decision they will make it, they can make it good and right. So I think that trust need to be built up in between the girls. And for that, some leader women, they have to come out and they have to, give a guidance of people like us, that they can also, find out their skill, their power, that they can do wonders and they can change, right? So I think
Amazing.
that's the most important part for us. We have to trust on ourselves that we can do wonders.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think, again, you're talking again about role models as well, in addition to the fact about biases and addressing self-bias. And it's not just bias around us, but also how we are biased about our own capabilities at times. Awesome. Wonderful points made by all of you. And perhaps it's time to just quickly also go around to think about what can be done to address some of these challenges. As you said, that when we're talking about particularly jobs on the shop floor, definitely flexibility can be an issue. But does that stop companies from offering women the opportunity to participate with a certain amount of understanding and empathy for also the fact that they juggle life responsibilities and family responsibilities? And what can be done, and perhaps if any of you also have any um, examples from maybe other countries in terms of how the sector has helped women participate more in manufacturing. And we're talking about core jobs in manufacturing on the shop floor, as well as the allied jobs which come up. And what can organizations do, first of all, in terms of making it more participative and more inclusive for women? So let me, start the other way now. Nitika, let's go with your thoughts first.
Absolutely. I think I have seen in my life that I have seen some engineers who are working, back end job. And, it is sometimes it's a thought, why are they doing this job? They are not for the back end because they have done their degree, BTech or something. They know about the shop floor better than men, or I'm not saying men that they are, colleague, I can say that. So I think uh, that itself, I think in the company they have to think about it. Then when they are hiring a people, a girls, a woman for the background of BTech or engineering, I think they have to think about it and they have to offer it. You can ask them that that you if you are ready to do a job in a floor shop, I think we have to give them a opportunity. Then only they'll come out. So that's, we have to think about it.
So a lot of women are
Still
qualified
working
but
that way.
applying for back-end roles and jobs
Yes.
which are not on the shop floor. Okay.
Again, that is a mentality because they are thinking that they can't do it because this is a man job. No, this is not a
Right.
man job. You have to come on floor and you have to.
And I think that brings us kind of very seamlessly to what some of the others on the panel were also saying, in terms of how there is conditioning, even at the family level as we grow up,
Yes.
that these jobs are meant for women, these jobs are not meant for girls. Or you hear a lot more, especially even at the school level where I work with kids, that these jobs are more suited for girls. I hear parents telling us, because we do a lot of parental counseling as well, and parents saying that we don't want them to do mechanical, we would want them to study computer engineering, easier.
Absolutely.
And even girls, some girls, which because we have some uh, engineering students that we provide scholarships for, and we also mentor them. And I've had girls say that I'm studying mechanical, but I'm learning all the computer science stuff because I want a job in computer science, and that's the direction that I'm going to take. And then they're applying for those jobs and not applying for what they've actually been training for. So Amita, over to you for your thoughts.
Okay, so I'm a mother of two beautiful daughters. I'll just throw a thought at everyone. Do we ever, tell our girls in the family or the daughters not to learn to drive cars? We tell them, right? Have we, kind of an identify it's only a male thing? If they can very well manage a machine like a car, or for that matter, an aircraft also, they can very well manage the show at the shop floor, maybe with the much heavier machines also. So while you say, what can be, what would be the, the good examples, I think all the women, right, being here on the panel are the beautiful examples for it. One thing I'd really like to add over here is that generally, I understand there's a minority when it comes to manufacturing, but we have been successful because of, most of the male around us. That's a fact, and nobody, I think, recognizes that fact, that we need to, give them their due respect also, their, the conduciveness that they created. We need to really honor that part as well. So the first priority should be that there should be that kind of environment that women can actually grow over there, Getting a job is fine, right? She can be there for 1 year, 2 year, but in case the environment is not conducive enough for her to grow and rise, she will eventually leave. So it is it's the onus on the organizations, onus on the leaders to create such kind of an environment. And I'm really proud to say, whatever I am today, it's because of the men around me, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's all right, the way we have done the things, it has been my instinct or, my fight for it. But of course, I have got a beautiful support from the people around me, and they have been men and women at all the levels. So let's give them their due respect.
Sure.
Yeah.
Pallavi, over to you.
Right. So actually, let me share a story that I was very encouraged to hear. So I was at a panel, I was attending a panel discussion some time ago, earlier this year, and I had the opportunity to listen to this lovely lady who ran a manufacturing operations out of Thailand. And she also very much spoke about how she had a lot of help and support from her colleagues, her male colleagues, who helped her shine, who kind of gave her the confidence to believe in herself when perhaps she didn't see that she could run things. And I think that's really important to find good mentors, to find good people. And it doesn't have to be men and women.
Allies.
Both. Yeah, allies who are able to see something in you that perhaps you don't see yourself, and are able to help challenge you. And what is also equally important that she also shared was how she's paying it forward now. So now she's helping the younger generation to rise, to be better leaders, better support people. And it was very evident because she had a lot of supporters within the listeners who were listening, and they were all, it's a mixed crowd, all were very cheering and clapping for her. And that's the kind of organization that I think all of us want to work for, that we want to build for ourselves. So yeah,
that's an amazing story of really very honestly encouraging people around us, and not just about men or women, but I think everyone thrives when you have that support structure, when you have an environment where everyone cheers everybody on. But particularly I feel when we're talking about women thriving, it does come from a lot of that allyship of people around us. So two things that really stand out: one is definitely about and it's not about male or female, but you're right. I mean as Amita said also, so many times there are men who see things in you which you may not have seen. There are men who've pushed you on and said, why not? And that kind of has helped you grow in a way that you may not have. And those and again goes back to the previous set of conversation around self-bias, and those unconscious biases which we hold within ourselves, which are the barriers that are the first level. And how do you break those barriers of your own mindset and your own ability to believe that you can do certain things. And to me, one of the interesting examples I give is that there are studies which say that when you look at if there's a job which is open one level up, a large percentage of women, and that's more than like 50% women, will probably do all the permutation combinations of if I apply this will happen, but then I only have about 60%. I have about, actually they'll think I have about 80% of the qualifications that job needs. I don't have the 20%. And if they ask me this, what will I say? And if they say this, and then they're gonna, anyway, I'm not gonna get it, let me not apply. A man, on the other hand, 90% of men are going to apply for that job, even if they only have 60% of the qualifications that they need for that job. They're
Or
going to
less.
think, or less, and they're going to think, let me apply, we'll see what happens. So that level of confidence in the fact that none of us are perfect. We could be, 60% skill and 40% potential. And that, organizations can actually shape that potential to, build a team of leaders who can really contribute in a very, very meaningful way to the journey of the organization. I think that's, so important. And that means there is so much needed at so many different levels. There is a need at a personal level to work on building awareness, building that kind of confidence, and then of course at the organization level, and then your colleagues, and then further up in terms of how the whole sector is set up and what the government can do and everything. So great thoughts there, Shwetambari. I'll come to you next.
Yeah. So, what I would like to mention that long time ago, someone asked me, like, so we should treat men and women equal, because men and women are equal. Guys, what my primary thought is, no, they are not equal. Biological differences are there. We must respect them. And to overcome these barriers, I think organizations should give an opportunity, considering the differences between the two genders. So the DEI, what we always keep on talking about, diversity, equality, and the inclusions. So we need to refrain our thoughts or refresh our thoughts on this, that men and women can never be equal, first naturally, and then based on the society norms or whatever we have grown up upbringing. So organizations can actually provide the opportunities based on the differences what they have. Like when I join in manufacturing, fortunately I have got a very good uh, team of male and females, like Amita said. Fortunately they threw some challenges to me, that nahi ma'am, ye aapko nahi jamega, वेंचुरी में जाना है, like 5 meters down, क्यों नहीं जमेगा? I got my confined studies done. I went into the confined spaces. That sometimes the thing gets triggered when someone says that you cannot do it. But yeah, but sometimes I also have to limit myself, where I've been said that you have to do, but considering the female in me, or considering my challenges to my body or my body structure, I have to say no at sometimes. That ऐसा नहीं है कि सब challenges उठा के चलो and over challenge करो खुद को, but no भी बोलना है. And you should be always in position to tell your team that why you cannot do this.
Right.
So अगर ना भी बोलना है, तो it may not always be that you have to justify your no.
Right.
But yeah, you can take that judicious call. That is what I think.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Neelam.
So I want to put this into perspective, how we can overcome this barrier. One is from the organizational perspective, and then from an individual perspective. I think individual perspective we touched a lot. On the organizational perspective, once we talked about the policy flexibilities, I mean, on this, that is what the organization could work. Second is about the workforce diversity push, so that they are heard, they are visible, and there is because we represent 50% of the population in general, but that same representation doesn't exist in the workforce. And I know that could be a dream, but I believe the organization can work towards making that representation in the workforce also. That will make a much better workforce presentation. And third point, one of the panelists mentioned, we need to make the workplaces, especially the shop floors, more of neutral workforces. Like we know that in this shop floor, especially if you go into any work, there is constraint about load carrying capacity, or this some positional working which requires can we work towards making them more neutral so that we don't have to think that whether I have to hire a man or a woman, but anybody I hire should be able to do this job. So that is the thought process that the organization, mainly from the processes and the, in the factory shop floor, that they can work to make the work shop floors more neutral floors. From the individual perspective, and this has been very much related to mine also as well, I believe one needs to think of upskill. That's a consistent way of making yourself one as you having creating your value. Because many a times what happened, and I have seen, oh, I have done my B, now I'm doing this work, I'll keep on doing. The thing is, when the times are changing, we have moved from CNCs to now AI and IoTs, and this thing. How can you think that the engineering that I had done 20 years back, I need to keep constantly evolving and learning about it. I believe many a times you don't do that, and that is that personal bias hindrance that comes in. So
Right.
one thing which I believe is, and the message I wanted to give it to all the women, please spend time in upskilling yourself. That's very, very
Right.
important. If you want to become relevant in the market, you want to create value for yourself, and then only you will get what you want, or whatever it is. Second is, which is very important, have a mentor. I had mentor, because in this industry, getting a mentor, because during those challenging times when the life cycle and the professional cycle conflicts happen, I believe having a mentors really helps you to be in the industry to overcome those challenges, and this will really help in. And do find a mentor. If not, at least your organization have at least get that facility if it is. This is really helpful. This has been help. And third point, I want to tell you, this is very important. Whenever we have some major life events, we generally say, oh no, I will not take this project because I have to go for my marriage or my kid or whatever it is. Many times we put a break on ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't take this assignment. And then that creates a biasness into the other person. So I believe it's very important to understand what that responsibility wise, what is from the work side that you can take it and you can work in. You should be working. Many times we put that break much earlier before we actually going into that live event. And that is the reason people have this biasness. Oh, she is going to go for maternity leave after, so why should I involve her into this important assignment? But maybe there are women who would have talked, oh, I cannot take this because I'm going for this. So what I feel is, don't put the break before you actually going into that major life event. Take up the challenges, upskill yourself, and have a mentor. This is really going to help you to overcome the barriers. And I believe organizations are already working into the workforce diversity, although the numbers are not very encouraging. But I believe with the time changing and with the newer field comings, it definitely is going to help everyone.
Thank you, Neelam. I think some very interesting points again. I think when we're talking about self-bias or, biases that we hold as women as we grow up, and there was a lot that was spoken about that. At that level, perhaps it's also about the fact that we already preempt that the organization will not understand or accept those breaks. The reason why you're so conscious of those breaks, because very often, even across fields, there are a lot of young women who've reached out to me for advice in terms of saying, I'm going for a job interview, and how do I address this? I had a break for 1 year during this time. How do I explain it? What should I say? And I said, why do you need to explain it? You have a rich resume where you have a lot of rich experience that you're bringing to the table. You have those skills and you are bringing those to the table. Why do you focus only on the gap? But in our minds, sometimes that gap is the only thing that you're focused on. We are focused on that. So you're constantly thinking, how am I going to talk about that? How am I going to explain that I took a year off because I had a baby? How am I going to explain that I got married and I had some responsibilities, and so I took that year off? I know, how am I going to talk about it? And sometimes it's really, again, it's about social conditioning. How I would have thought of the same thing. And I was really lucky because one of my earliest jobs, I was on maternity leave, and at that time, I really thought I was ready for a career change, and ready for a change, and then I discovered that I was pregnant, and I thought, okay, there it goes. There's no way I can apply for any jobs now because I'm pregnant. And then I was really lucky because while I was on maternity leave, a friend reached out and she said, this we have this opening in the organization, and it was so I used to be with the BBC back then, and it was a role with another division of the BBC, and she said, why don't you apply for it? I said, but I'm on maternity leave. And she said, so what? Just apply. What do you have to lose? I said, I would love to get that opportunity, but I don't know. And she said, no, just send me your CV. I'll send it to the bureau head and just meet him. And then she called back and she said, he wants to meet you. I went and met him for a coffee. And not even once in that 45-minute discussion did he talk to me about the fact that I'm on maternity or what's going on, when did you go on maternity, and when do you plan to get back, what is nothing. It was only, at the end, after meeting him, when his office reached out with the offer, they said, when are you comfortable to join? And I said, and I gave them the date. I said, this is when I plan to be back from maternity. And he said, fine, come back when you're ready. We will put that as your joining date. And not just that, I said, look, the other part of the organization where I was working, they were also offering me a level up. And I declined that because I said, no, I want to take this role. And I said, look, if they let go of me early because I'm still on maternity, and if they decide to relieve me early, what do I do? Because I don't want to lose my pay. And I was very young at that time, and, with a young family. And he said, that's all right. We'll put your joining date as the day after you leave that part of the organization. And you can still join on the date when you want to join. And I thought that just made my life, like, suddenly it was like, oh my God, I can have this opportunity. I can still have what I want. But it doesn't happen to everybody because you don't always have the same kind of empathy or understanding for a simple life circumstance which could happen to anybody. It could be a man who has to take off to, a long period off to take care of an, aging parent or something. These things happen in life. But that kind of understanding for life circumstances is something which can be life, situations which can happen to anybody. And to look at it as, to me, it's really about how do you make organizations? How do you make every single person in an organization look at each other as just professionals? Don't look at people as men or women, but look at each other just as professionals who are bringing certain capabilities, certain skills to the table, and are here to do a job. And so judge them by how they deliver on the job, and not by, how much time they took off, or, what exactly, what more they should be doing, or why are they not seen in the office, or whatever it is. It's so many things which condition us, because you're also, the self bias, I feel, also comes from us preempting how people around us are going to react to us taking time off, how my colleagues are going to speak about me if I take 2 weeks off because I had XYZ to take care of for my child. So, that level of empathy in terms of treating each other as professionals, that's really what women want. I don't want reservation, and I don't want to be hired saying you're hired because you're a woman. I want you to hire me because I'm very good at what I do. I want you to understand that I'm really good at what I do. I bring certain experience to the table, and that's why you're hiring me, because you believe that I can deliver that job that you're hiring me for. I don't want you to hire me because, oh, she's a woman. And I hate it if I'm hired and there are colleagues who think, oh yeah, but this role was for women only. Well, please show me how many other men are as qualified as I am. Please show me how many other men can boast of the same experience that I bring. And the fact that we juggle so many other things makes us that much more competitive and capable, isn't it? I mean, it's really so many things to think about. But yeah, I mean, I think time for women to believe that they are empowered and to believe how strong they are. So, Nitika, over to you for some
Absolutely. I
thoughts.
think you shared your story. Actually, it's opposite. Actually, I want to share with that when I was in Google, I quit because I had a TB in my eye. So after 1 year, I quit. I said I'm not delivering, so I can't, go for a job. So I put my resign, and after that, after 1 year, when I was okay with my eyes, and I went for a new job. And then they said that because there is a 1 year gap, so we can't give you that pay structure whatever you were getting earlier.
Right.
So you have to come down for your pay scales because there is a gap of 1 year, and because I was not aware so much at that moment that how to tackle that kind of things, and I was staying in Delhi. It was not easy to
Right.
do things in metro cities. So I said okay. I said yes because from I have to start from somewhere once again. So you
Yeah.
can say your plans definitely it's all your plans, but God has always different plans for you. So I think that's why today I'm sitting in front of everyone and I'm talking about women empowerment. But I think we are powerful. We have to understand our own power. When we will understand those, I'm speaking and I'm telling again and again this word. The reason being because yes, we have seen some girls who are doing a desk job and they are well educated and they have a good degrees in their hand. They have good experience, and without them, I don't think so that backend can handle by anybody. And still, they are doing a desk job because they are good in desk job. So we have to come out from that way. We have to hit the flow. We have to tell people that guys, man, please understand that thing, that if we can do a desk job, we can do a machine job as well. Because when I'm saying Shakti, if you have to run a machine, you need a power, means Shakti. And when you need to do a job, rentless job, then also you need a power. So that means, so both sides you need Shakti, and the women uh, can do anything whatever they want to, but still first they have to trust themselves that they can do
Right.
that job. That is most important part. Till then, I don't think so that anybody, not even a woman and men even, till then you don't have that trust that you can do that. Nobody can do that anything. So I think that my
Right.
big inspiration is always a Kiran Bedi. So I have learned when I was a kid, I learned from her that how she shaped her life. um, at that moment when we were not even talking about women empowerment, and she was the first IPS in India. And most of the girls, they were thinking about that they can be IPS officer once. So you can see now in army, in other sectors also, not in
Everywhere.
manufacturing,
Yes. And
even
now Air
everywhere you
Force.
can see, yes, all the girls, they want to take a major role, they want to be leadership, they are ready to take a lead, they want to stand in front. And I think we are on the right way. There is no need to think about 30%. Okay, on floor, we need a 30%. We are not 30%. I think it's not about men and women. Everybody need a
Yeah.
equal choice, equal, pay scale,
Opportunity.
equal
Right.
opportunities they needed. So that's most important part we have to talk about. Thank
Amazing.
you.
So that actually is bringing up a few other topics that I definitely want to touch upon. But first, let me quickly go to Pankti, who has joined us. Thank you, Pankti, for joining us. Would you like to give a quick introduction to yourself and share a few thoughts on the kind of so we've been talking about barriers for women to join the manufacturing sector and also what companies can do to address those. So over to you, Pankti.
Hi everyone. This is Pankti Agarwal here, the Executive Director of Laser Technologies Private Limited. I have been, working with laser technologies since over a decade now. And of course, there are multiple barriers when it comes to women in manufacturing because there are stereotypes, there are assumptions that are made that women can't do this, and You won't believe in the whole laser industry, there is a female director is, coming on the stage and doing the job is very rare to find. And I, started it when I initially used to go to the trade shows and everywhere. There were no women, only female were there who were as receptionists, and no one was taking the shots. So it takes time. You have to trust yourself, and then you have to do the job. And once you do the job right, gradually the team starts trusting you, and gradually you know, get empowered. And I'll say that in the laser industry, we empower very, very few women. Like, or as she said rightly, that they're only on the desk job. But I, push them. I tell them that, okay, you've done with this. Now you should upgrade. How are you going to upgrade? You tell me. We'll sit and develop the skill. You want to do the outside sales. You don't stick to in-house sales. You go out on the field. You want to do the service engineering. You want to do the job work. You tell me what you want to do, and we'll make sure we'll prepare a skill set for you. We'll train you, and then we'll place you. So that's what we do at Laser Technologies.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So upskilling that's done by the companies to help women, progress on a path that they want to take. That's a brilliant point to make. Thank you, Pankti. Thank you for that. I think couple of points that we've all been hearing. One is definitely on mentorship and also role models. And personally, I feel role models need to be also everyday role models. It's not always that you are constantly inspired by a Kiran Bedi, who of course is a larger than life figure. But what about creating role models in your everyday life? How can we do that? And also the whole point on mentorship. I think on role models and mentorship, I'd love to hear more thoughts from around the group. So over to you, Amita. Let's start with you.
I think this topic is very close to my heart, the mentorship and the being the role models. I absolutely agree, larger than life role models, it's very difficult to relate to. So you need to have sometimes in-house role models also, where they can contribute right at the shop floor, or at at the mid level, or at the senior level, or maybe at a leadership level. I'm absolutely in for it. How do you do it? See, you cannot be everywhere. That's a fact. You cannot be on the shop floor, and you cannot be at the senior leadership position, right? So probably the best thing is you need to create more leaders, more role models that you have to do within the organization. They have to be a part of within the company. I absolutely love when you gave the example of, that you were, told that you can join. That was a beautiful example of, of talent acquisition. So you have that perfect talent with you. You have that perfect, candidate with you, irrespective of his joining date and all. So again, now this kind of a culture, this kind of the continuation can very well be created. And then this also becomes a role model. See, we had such and such kind of a lady. Probably this was her position. We gave her due time to come back in shape whenever she is comfortable. This is one again good model. The person who did it is again a role model. How I do it within my organization, sitting at this position, it's very, 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 I would say, simple at heart also, but it's just that we have to keep reminding ourselves that, you are not at every position. You have to create more leaders. You have to create more things. So small example. We just came up with a new vertical with a new nanobubble technology. And then we were, hiring the sales team, and also obviously sales primarily means men. But again, we have, a beautiful girl with me, super performer. And somehow, while we were busy, with shifting of the facilities and with the other things and the other policy makings, somehow we missed her on her welcome. And it was missed by me also, because I was also part of that shifting process of that, with the all the nitty-gritties going here and there. Only thing I realized is when the males as sales team joined. So they were given the welcome card, they were given the welcome kit. There was, due announcements, and there I recalled, oh, I missed this thing for my girl. So this is, I need to amend my mistake. I did one complete, this kind of a town hall for her and said that this is what has been missed by me. I need to, rectify my mistake, and we need to do a same kind of a welcome for that girl which has been missed, or probably which has been given but to the other salespeople, irrespective of their functions. But then I don't want to create that disparity, so I took that initiative of doing it. Another thing that I want to, contribute over here is, while we say, this is again from one of the fellow panelists, or probably Gayatri, it is from you. Sorry in case if I'm adding to it, because you said ki it's all about the professionalism. I'll go just one step ahead. I would say it's about the, the extended family, right? So in case if we have that kind of a culture within the organization, feeling it, giving it a feel of a family, it doesn't make a difference, if you have, you're having your some kind of odd days of the month, or probably you're going out for your maternity. It's so much of a belonging within the organization, within the team members, that everyone is absolutely fine with whatever the difficulties another family person is sharing. And third thing is, which I completely resonate with Neelamji, is that upskilling part. That's a beautiful thing she said, because whatever the education was given to her, like the 3 decades back, may not be, resonate with what the times are going on. So you need to constantly upskill yourself, and this is where we can, just create a place for ourselves. Otherwise, we are bound to be left somewhere behind. So that upskilling thing needs to keep on going on and on. If we have to be successful, if we have to, shine, be there on the top, upskilling is the top thing. That's it.
So upskilling at the self level, but also, as Pankti said, organizations giving opportunities for upskilling. I think both are very important.
Both are very important.
And at the same time, to believe that even the qualifications you have are also good, that also has to, come in, so that you don't keep doubting yourselves on that, and in terms of your own capabilities. Fantastic.
I'll tell you a very interesting thing, that I have a non-technical background. Working in a technical, sector, and giving some of the out of the box ideas that are very well implemented in-house within our organizations. And so that is where, it's like, stop limiting yourself, just be fearless, go beyond. That's all I can say.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Neelam, over to you on that note.
Thank you, Gayatri. And I really liked Amita's, point that we need to create more leaders. We all are leaders from our industry. We need to create more and pull more leaders, because the more leaders we will have, more role models we will have, and there will be more women who will be inspired. I'll just tell you a story. This was during my early days. I used to work in an automotive truck manufacturing company. So what happened is, I was giving a presentation to one of a very senior president, and he said, "Okay, what is the clutch effort of the truck?" I knew in the numbers, but what it felt like is that I didn't, because I didn't know the driving of the truck at that time. And I felt very bad. I said, why didn't I learn driving, and why didn't I experience myself? Because if I'm trying to tell, now if I'll tell, oh, it is some 10 kgf or 20 kgf, nobody will understand what it means to, and then I actually took up heavy duty driving, and I'm actually a commercial heavy duty truck driver license holder. I do drive trucks. I mean, this is what I have to learn it. The point here is, now if I have created a barrier, oh, I can't drive, or maybe this is not the thing, or people will laugh seeing me, especially in the Indian roads, driving a 16 tonner or a 25 tonner truck. But the point here is, it is anybody can be a role model, and we need those people, whether they are at which position, that doesn't matter. But what is that they are teaching us? And I do take it like that. So I do learn. If I have to have role model, I have many role models, not only one person, from my mother to people from the various sector of the life. And I learn that. And I believe that's what is the best that they are doing. How are they doing it? For me, this is how I do take it. And it's very, very important, because many a times when you are at a low zone of your thought process, these role models are the one which helps. I also talked about being mentors. I had some very great mentors in the industry who helped me to actually fast progress my career in the industry. they really helped me at the time when I needed those I said important conversations. It's very important to have that conversation when you are finding a challenge. And as I said, there the life is not simple, whether you are in which sector, whether you are in manufacturing or any other sector, especially for the women, there are conflicting times comes. We keep on hearing, oh, balance it. But how to balance this is also important. The thing is, okay, I'm having a small 1.5 month baby, and then I also have to balance my new product, which is going to come in 2 months. So both are the babies for me. But then, how do you balance it when this comes in? And really, I face this when I have a baby to leave at home, and I have a product launch which is coming, and I was being the project manager. It was most important duty for me as well.
Yeah.
The thing is, at these time, these are the people who helps you. How should you, because they have gone through that experience. And that's why they advises you, they tells you how you can do it. And sometimes you might have not have heard about those things that, oh, this can also be possible. Maybe, for example, what I was telling you, work from home in the manufacturing industry. I remember we never used to talk it during 2001 or 2010 or 2015. No, never, nobody. They said, oh, no, 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 this is not at all possible. You have to work on the machine. How will you work? But 2020 told us, all the industry, that it is possible and how it can be made possible. But the point is, I believe mentors and role models in everyday life from different sectors are very important. One should have and must have, and we also should mentor. I mentor more than 10 to 15 girls,
I agree.
from the industry. We all have to pick up, because until unless we are going to take it up, how are we going to have more leaders for the future? And this
Agreed.
is I say, this is our duty and responsibility as the industry leader to do it. So this is what my advice also to all the leaders who are, listening to this conversation. Do mentor, whether it is girl or boy, but do mentor them. It's very important when they are in the early career. We have got mentors, and it has helped us, and the same we expect for our future generations too.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Pallavi, over to you.
Thanks. So I'm going to say something completely opposite and different. I understand mentors, role models, they are very helpful and essential, but I've never really had one in my career. And I know many people who actually have difficulty finding that. So what do you do when, you don't have that kind of support, or that kind of organizational support? What has helped for me, and this is what I would like to share, is I have a really great group of peers, men, women, a lot of women actually, where I can, support. I kind of, it's like a tribe where I get support, I get peer advice, I learn. They're not necessarily in the same industry as me or even in the same function as me. But, when you share challenges and when you come together and everyone's kind of suffered, or everyone has gone through similar challenges. And it's these kinds of groups that have helped me a lot in my career, where I've had to seek advice, where I need to understand why people have behaved in a certain way, or certain reactions from companies and organizations. So I think this is also extremely important, kind of like a parallel to mentorship, to make sure that you have a good group of people, and it all comes back into place. So we were talking earlier about not having your inherent own biases, kind of getting that self-awareness. And this is exactly where that group also kind of plays a part, because then they can also point out that, no, you can do this. And or if at minimum to say, like, would a man do this? Because I've definitely been asked that by my peer group, like, would a man do this? Would a man apply to this job? When I've said, like, oh, I can't really do this or that. And like, yes, that is something that I want to bring to the table.
Right. So allies, or a group of allies. How do you go, if I can just follow up on that, how did you, how does one go about creating that tribe or that peer group which can come together and actually support each other? How does one do that?
That's a really good question. I started by joining industry groups. So Lean In, for example, is a really good group to join. And as you start attending their activities, you kind of find a group of people that you resonate with. There are actually quite, I'm based out of Singapore, so there are actually quite a number of organizations that specifically are built around women and empowering women leadership. So, once you start doing a few things, but it's not necessarily linked to that. I think you have to keep an open mind. So even within your organization, look at leaders that you admire, or not just leaders, but like peers that you admire, and see what kind of behaviors that they exhibit and adapt them for yourselves. It doesn't have to be, the same age as you, older, younger. You have to be open to like looking out for these kinds of things.
And in fact, going back to the conversation on mentors, because you said something very interesting, a lot of people may not know how to find a mentor, which is a very, very important point that you raised, because people don't know how to go about it, or to even look for mentors, because mentors may not necessarily be within your organization. It could even be people outside the organization. But how do you reach out now? I for example, and I'll be honest and transparent, I do get a lot of requests to connect on LinkedIn. And very often I tend to accept requests from students, but it gets to a point where there's too many requests, and then most of them are just reaching out to find out if there's a job opening, right? So you tend to then stop accepting invitations after a point, because you're thinking, hey, let me accept because it's a student, and maybe I can help, and maybe I can provide some guidance, something if they need. But then you end up thinking, okay, everybody just wants a job, so that gets a bit difficult. But the truth is, there are also organizations.
Oh, it looks like Gayatri lost her connection. But
Maybe,
yeah.
yes.
So there are organizations outside which are bringing together mentors and mentees, and those are also things to look out for, and people can go and find those kind of opportunities as well, where it may not be something that your organization is doing, but there are organizations which are doing those kind of structured programs. Because end of the day, even as mentors, sometimes you're trying to find a structured way to pass on your learning and your experiences, right? Sometimes you're thinking, how do I pass this on? How do I share this? And so you want to, and as you all said, I think it's a responsibility we all have to really get people to come together and share their experiences further with the next generation, and the up and coming professionals, because they are the ones who need that kind of it can really help them. And this is what I say if I'm talking at a university, that look, we've spent 25 years learning all of these things, which are nothing, maybe they are nothing to do with the core skills of the job, but it's really about navigating your careers. It's about navigating life, and how do you make choices at different junctures in your life? You're going to have to make choices, and life is all about making choices. So how do you make those choices? How do you navigate that? And how do you also condition yourself to say, I don't have to feel guilty if I took a 6-month maternity leave, or if I took 1 year off because I had a baby? Why should I feel guilty about it? If my employer is not accepting of my life choices, then perhaps they're not the right place to be, for me as a professional. Because end of the day, I should also know what value I bring to the table as a professional, to be able, and therefore make sure that you're so good at what you do, and that what you contribute to the organization is so good, that end of the day, when you make that life choice, you should be able to understand that I bring value to the table. So if I want to take time off for something on the personal level, I have that choice. I have, I needn't feel guilty about it and second guess myself on that, because that's what we tend to do. And I've done that a lot. I've thought a lot about, how if I let go of this, I'm just gonna, need that. And to be honest, it's not just about second guessing for myself, but I think it's also about how we judge others. I mean, I used to also work on the consulting side, and I can tell you that if I got an applicant who was maybe pregnant, I would not have hired her. Today, yes, I will, because I've really evolved, and my own thought process has evolved. But I'll be honest, at that point of time, I thought, I'm struggling to succeed in my career, and I really want to be successful, and I want to make a success of this role which I've been given. I'm leading a team of people. If I'm going to hire somebody who's going to go on maternity leave 3 months down the line, I'm again going to go through this whole cycle of trying to hire her replacement and a backfill, right? But the truth is, what if she was already part of my team and she became pregnant? I'm anyway going to have to, plan for her backfill. And that's where, I mean, I'm really inspired by my own boss at Rolls-Royce. He hired a woman into his team who was already pregnant, and he knew that she's going to go on maternity leave and take 1 year off. And he knew he'll have to plan for the backfill. He worked with the PR agency and got somebody to be insourced into that role for a year. And the fact that he could, look beyond the fact that she's pregnant at this point of time and she's going to go on maternity leave, and could hire her on the basis of the potential that that person can bring, and the value that potential value that person can bring to this organization, I think is really, really inspiring. Those are the kind of things you need, to also help us come out of these things. And that's what I mean. And I mean, even as a woman, if I can be biased, then obviously so can the men. So it's not just men who need that probably education and conditioning, but also women, to help other women do well. So yeah, Nitika, over to you.
No, definitely it's always inspiring, listening all the powerful women it's sitting in front of me. I think I can give a fresh example of mine related to leadership and mentor. So when I just, started my job as a marketing head in Marpos, my boss, she's a global marketing head in of Marpos, and she's sitting in Italy. So when I got a chance to get a training over there in Italy, I went there, and trust me, before that, I was not a decision maker. Okay. It was not easy to take a decision, upfront in front of everyone. But when I met with her, I found, they are very courageously, she's taking all the decision, and she didn't just, she told me that, Natika, uh, today I'm your mentor, right? And I want you to be a mentor one day for someone. And that was inspiring word. I got it from her, and I changed my thought. I said, okay, we I also have to understand my powers, and trust me, I have a mentor now, and she's every day she's saying that, Nitika, you're doing good. Okay, so you have to do this job and you are doing good. So I think when you are getting a mentor, definitely you are finding a way. But when you are being a mentor of someone, then you are be leadership in a leadership role. And even the person who's leading over here in Marcos, he always says that you are a marketing head. Take a decision. I trust you. So when a person is saying, when he's saying that I trust you, and all the people they are saying, Nitika, we are trusting you. Definitely, I think anybody can do a job when somebody is saying that we trust you. That simple single word can change the life. And I think Gayatri, I know Gayatri very well personally, and I want to share that because not professionally, not personally, she's handling a lot, and she's also an inspiration for most of the women. And do you know that she is a very good dancer as well, it's a Kathak dancer. So she's not only handling personally and professionally, she's also handling culturally. So I can say that she can be inspiration for any woman, and I have look forward for her always. And thank you for being there as a
Thank
leader,
you.
and because she's always helping so many girls. I know very well personally. She's helping every woman. That's why she's accepting everyone's invitation or connection from people. So I know that very well.
Thank you,
Thank you for
Nitika.
that.
That's very kind of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shwetambari, let's hear from you.
So already everyone has shared a very beautiful piece of experience, and for me, now you all have become my leaders and mentors. So thank you for that. So I'll definitely keep in connection with you. Gayatri, I will mention in short that since we all are being 80s and 19 kids, so we have seen a lot many revolution, and now we are also a part of this is also one of a revolution kind of thing from my point of view, that 50% Indian population is now having a 50% ratio male and female. Then why not at a workplace? So this revolution we are going to witness. So we as a female, we are the beginners. Like we have started working in manufacturing, chosen a career as a manufacturers. So whatever our failures or success will definitely setting an example for the upcoming generation, Gen Z. So we are also mentoring the future generation. That is what I think. So fortunately or unfortunately, few of us has got mentors, but few of us has not got mentors. I also got a good mentor, but we can mentor others through our stories of success or failures, because the upcoming Gen Z generation will be a part of this revolution, but they are the beneficiaries, but we are the part of a revolution, and we are actually making this happen. So let us take it in that way, so our stories will be definitely heard.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think, as you said, and it's not just leaders, but also, everyone across levels. We have learnings that we can pass on, and it's definitely an opportunity to do that, because sometimes it's not just the big things that you're mentoring people about. You're also mentoring them about these small, small day to day. Like Pallavi was sharing. When you go and say, when you have doubts, and somebody in the group comes and says, "Would a man do this?" Then why not? Why don't you do it? So you just need that little bit of that push, maybe on even your day to day kind of doubts, day to day kind of things you want to just talk to somebody about. And maybe having a mentor can be an opportunity to do that, but it's also up to us to go out and find those mentors, probably. And I mean, I had a mentor at one point in time, which was assigned by our organization as part of a program in one of my previous roles. And I remember I was having a conversation. I was in a team, I had colleagues, and I felt that, I was doing, my workload was so much. I really needed a resource, because I was doing work which was obviously at a leadership level, because you were leading certain parts of brand building, etc. And I thought, I really wish I had help. And there are people in the team who don't have as much to do, and you're doing a lot, and you're also frustrated. And then the person who was mentoring me, he said, "Have you asked for a resource?" Very, very simple question. "Have you asked for a resource?" And I said, "No, I don't think so. I don't think I'll get one, because, I think they don't have the head count. But why haven't you asked? Just go ahead and ask, because it does two things," he said. It tells your manager that you need a resource, that your workload needs to be reviewed, and that somebody needs to take a look at that and be conscious of the fact that, hey, this person needs a resource because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G things that they are handling at one point of time. And being women, we're going to make sure that all of it gets done, right? So, and B, he said, you never know. Maybe you get it. So what's the harm? And what's the worst that will come out of it? They'll say no. which is anyway right now the answer that you're living with. So, what is the worst that can happen? Somebody is going to say no. That's okay, and we can move on from that. So yeah, I mean, I think a fantastic set of thoughts shared by everybody in terms of, you know, how to view mentorship, how it can help, and not just mentors, but also allies. How can we create allies? How can we create an environment where people can be allies to each other? There's so much to think about. And I think we're almost at the end of this. So I'm going to just very quickly go around the group and ask for some final thoughts. There's so much happening, particularly in the manufacturing sector. There is digitization, there's new technologies like AI, Industry 4.0, which is, you know, come in, and there are so many demands from that point of view as well. What do you think, you know, what more needs to be done? What can really help in helping us push for the participation of women in the manufacturing sector in particular? Let me start with Neelam.
So thanks for asking this question, Gayatri. For the women, I particularly want to say, with the new technologies coming, with the new field coming, like data science, AI, or machine learning, or IoTs, upskill yourself, be market relevant. Don't think that, okay, I will just continue with what I have learned. No, it's not going to work. And if you really want to move and be progressive, upskill yourself, be in the group of network yourself with the same mind people, or I should say with the industry people. That's how you are seen, you have a visibility, and you make the connectivity. And third part is, I say is, as you become flexible and adaptable, that's the mantra for you to be successful in the industry. Do and never give up on what you are doing, whatever the challenges are. Keep making that effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Pallavi, over to you for your last few thoughts before we close the session.
So I absolutely echo what was just said. It's definitely a mindset. We must teach our young women, even ourselves, to learn, unlearn, and relearn as we navigate our careers, as we help everyone else around us to navigate their careers. And this is really the future mindset that we must cultivate. The future is just going to be powered by tech, talent, and a fresh perspective, a women's perspective.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. And we will all, of course, second that for sure. Nitika, over to you.
Yes, definitely. If I'll talk about, let's answer your question about 4 and 4.0 and digitalization. So I think the shift towards digital innovation opens leadership, roles in strategy and process optimizations area where women can influence a lead. Trust me. And I think, Gayatri, I'll just give your example that you're saying that just go once and ask. So I'll just want to give a, tell those women who are sitting on desk, just if you are thinking that you are good at job, do not stop yourself, go and just ask. Yes, you can also do that job. So trust yourself. That is most important, because you have power. You can change the world, you can change the situation, and you can lead the world as well. So best of luck, all the women over there in manufacture or any other sectors. Just trust yourself and please open up that you have the charisma and you can change the things.
Thank you. Shwetambari, over to you.
So if I talk about the industry 4.0 and digitalization, so already women are being currently representing as a minority. So as Neelam very rightly mentioned, that upskill and upgrading yourself and make it to the that level that women will now become a majority in this digital world and represent a new era to the next future generation. That's what I think.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Amita.
So yeah, while we talk about, all this, the new things and the industry, see, we are not going to stop here, that's for sure. So the way the India is, building up, nothing's going to stop here, and India is going to become a superpower soon. The only thing, the best thing that we can do is, as females, the stage has always been set. So we don't have to struggle that part. We don't have very many challenges as they used to be there. So the stage is already there. You just have to walk up, be there and perform, right? So what can be done at the organization level is absolutely some different, and what can be done at the grassroots level is different. All I want to say is everything has to go parallelly, everything is cross-linked, and that too at the government level also. So
Agree.
until and unless nothing is, cross-linked, we won't see many changes. The changes would be very, very slow. Challenges would be there. It's okay to overcome them. They would be done. But the only thing is the momentum has to build up at all the levels. Currently, if you ask me, I'm at that point of stage where it's not that I want the moon or the star. I want a complete planet for myself. That's what I would like to end with. Thank you, Gayatri. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Amita. Thank you. Pankti, over to you.
So it has been, I could attend a very small portion of this today because I had to drop my son off because my house help was on leave. So, but it was such an enriching experience to, to listen to such inspiring women. I feel there is so much to learn and there is so much to give back to the community. I say if I have the opportunity to sit as a leader in this technologically advancing country, I think I should empower more women and empower them and, make sure that they are doing their best and get the best out of them. Whether it's a desk job, whether it's a marketing job, whether it's a field job, I think we should upskill. Of course, I agree with everyone. We should upskill. Even I should upskill, keep learning and then empowering others. I think this is a wonderful opportunity that we all have and we must give it back to the community.
Amazing. And I personally want to say that it's been an absolute pleasure to moderate this discussion with all of you, fantastic women. More power to all of you. And I am just going to leave the audience with a message that anyone who wants to reach out on all of your behalf and our behalf, that anyone who wants to reach out and maybe, get some advice or some mentorship, please do connect with us. All of these women have fantastic experiences and they can definitely be a great source of guidance for anyone who's up and coming in the manufacturing sector in particular. And we really hope that we will see a lot more of participation from women in the sector going forward. And we also hope that more and more organizations will come forward and see the value that having a diverse workforce can bring to the table and make sure that everyone has an opportunity to participate and to contribute to the sector's growth. And I just want to thank Dinesh and the whole team for giving us all this opportunity to be a part of this very, very interesting conversation. And that's all from me. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Gayatri, just one last point. The first thing I do after this is send you a LinkedIn connection.
I'll be very, very happy to accept that. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you
everyone.
so much.
All
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So we are punctual, Dinesh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dinesh, can we leave now?